What's your name?
My name is Tireek. Tyreek Cody, my full name.
Where are you from?
Where am I from? I'm originally from Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, New York. Honestly, I lived all over the place. Like I lived in the Bronx at one point. I lived in Queens. I live in Staten Island right now. For a short period of time, I lived upstate in New York. I went to school in Arizona, where I lived for like 5 years, and now I'm back here in New York. But originally born and raised Brooklyn.
What do you do?
That's a tough question to answer. I try to, dabble in a little bit of everything. My first love was the music. I love writing songs, rapping. It was a passion that I developed young. It was just like, a way to express myself. At first it was just for fun, freestyling with friends and stuff, but it eventually developed into a passion, an outlet that I could use to let out, my anger, my happiness, my stress, all things like that. But I also love film. I love visual storytelling. I always preferred watching movies as opposed to reading books. I just love the way that you can tell stories with, the lighting of a scene. You can tell a lot about characters by how they dress, their facial expressions. You can communicate so much without even having to say a word, and I just think that's so cool and unique. So, one of my goals in life is I want to direct a film. I want to direct anything. I just want to be a part of the filmmaking process because I think it's super special, especially to be a part of something that will last forever, literally. We're all going to die one day, not to be like morbid or anything, but we're all going to pass on, but that will live forever, so dabble in that. Event coordination, like I've coordinated festivals in the past. I coordinate my own shows now. I just like creating. I just like, connecting the dots, putting things together, and just making things happen. So do a little bit of everything.
How did you start in that?
How did I start? That's a tough question too. Honestly, I come from a pretty creative family. I grew up surrounded by music. My grandfather, he used to be a DJ when he was younger, so he put me onto a lot of music. And he's also like a movie fanatic. So he has like a whole huge shelf with like hundreds of movies and DVDs that we would watch together day in and day out. And that's how I kind of developed my passions for both music and film. That's where like I first got introduced to, all the different music and film. I didn't start taking music seriously until after I graduated high school, and I moved out to AZ, and I met my boy Toddy and a few other friends who also did music, and we just had fun with it. It was cool. We all lived right next to each other. Outside of classes, we weren't really doing anything, so we just created all the time, and it was just fun being in that type of environment. So that's when I really started taking my art seriously, working on my craft and trying to become a more well-rounded artist and a more well-rounded person. So, started after high school, took it to AZ, and that's when I started pushing. I feel like Billie Eilish, Vanity Fair. I gotta come back next year and do this.
How do you get to where you are now, and where do you see yourself now?
How did I get to where I am now? Honestly, persistence. I had a lot of wins and a lot of losses, and you just got to learn from all the failures. We've had plenty of times, I've had plenty of times where I would put on a show. It's not the turnout that you would expected, but you still rock it out for the people that did show out for you, and they remember that. And then they come back again, and then they bring, other people. It's just, honestly, it's just all trial and error. So just, of course you're gonna have those moments where you feel low, you get discouraged, and you feel like things aren't gonna work out, but it's pushing past those, negative thoughts and feelings and being persistent and just, putting the hours in. So I would say, to make the long story short, I got where I am right now just by working hard and not giving up. I know that sounds cliche, but that's really what it's all about, just that consistency, believing in yourself, because really if you don't believe in yourself, how do you expect to, make other people believe in you and, believe in what you're building? Where do I see myself now? I see myself as somebody who is there. And when I say that, like, in terms of like capability, talent, just like I feel like I have all the necessary skills and tools to get to where I need to go. I'm where, how should I word this? Yeah, basically, I feel like I've spent all the time, the past few years developing my skills and my talent and just holding my craft. So I feel like I'm at a point where like all that's good. Now it's just figuring out how to scale it. Basically, if that makes sense, just figuring out how to consistently grow, build my name, build a brand, and just yeah, grow that fan base. So. Yeah.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
5 years. It's funny because 5 years ago, if you would ask me this question, I would have been lit right now. Mansion, cars, yacht, everything like that. But that's the thing about life. You never know how things are going to work out. You never know where things are going to go. In 5 years, again, this might sound cliche, but I just want to be happy. I see myself being happy, being successful in all the different endeavors that I'm trying to make happen. I see myself just being at peace with the decisions that I made up until that point. Nice family, because I want to have a family. I want to have kids. I don't know if that's going to happen within the next 5 years, but I just see myself just being happy, being content, and just being at peace. Not living with any regrets. Whether I'm like super rich, millionaire, or just like middle class or whatever the case may be. I just want to be secure in the decisions I made and where I am. So as long as I'm happy, I'm chilling.